You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Breaking news this morning, a suspect is in custody for the fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Veronica Macias. President Trump made that announcement 2 days after Kirk's death. And here's what we know this morning. Law enforcement officials have identified now the suspect as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. The governor of Utah said that the suspect hinted to his family that he killed Kirk. Investigators said that they believe Robinson acted alone. He faces several charges, including capital murder. Reporter Andres Gutierrez begins our coverage.
We got him.
Authorities identified the suspected gunman in Wednesday's fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson of Utah.
A family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
The development comes after the FBI released surveillance video overnight of a person seen on a roof, then jumping down.
Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" "Catch!"
Essentially, somebody that was very close to him turned him in.
President Trump broke the news on Fox and Friends, saying a minister and the father of the suspect helped in the arrest.
I hope he's going to be found guilty, I would imagine, and I hope he gets the death penalty. What he did, Charlie Kirk was the finest person. He didn't deserve this.
The 31-year-old conservative activist was shot and killed Wednesday at Utah Valley University during one of the college campus debates that he became famous for. On Thursday, Vice President J.D. Vance, who is a close friend of Kirk's, along with the second lady and Kirk's widow, escorted his body home to Arizona on board Air Force Two.
Kirk, of course, leaves behind a wife and 2 young children. President Trump has confirmed he will attend the funeral. The governor of Utah said Robinson had expressed opposition to Kirk's viewpoints. He also said violence is not the answer to political differences.
Ladies and gentlemen, I get the microphone, so I hope you'll permit me a moment just to share a few more thoughts about where we are and how we got here and maybe a little bit of where we go from here. I don't want to get too preachy, but I think it's important that we, with eyes wide open, understand what's happening in our country today. I've heard people say, well, why are we so invested in this? There's violence happening all across our country. And violence is tragic everywhere, and every life taken is a child of God who deserves our love and respect and dignity. This is certainly about the tragic death, political assassination of Charlie Kirk, but it is also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals. This cuts to the very foundation of who we are, of who we have been, and who we could be in better times. Political violence is different than any other type of violence for lots of different reasons. One, because in the very act that Charlie championed of expression, that freedom of expression that is enshrined in our founding documents, in having his life taken in that very act, makes it more difficult for people to feel like they can share their ideas, that they can speak freely. We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely. Especially those ideas with which you disagree. That's why this matters so much.
We also know that the gray Dodge Challenger that may have been used by the shooter was seen parked outside of a home in Utah. According to local CBS affiliate KUTV, this is believed to be the home of the suspect. Former FBI Assistant Director Brian Botig joined CBS News 24/7 to explain what's next in this investigation.
Yeah, the physical chase of a suspect, of a fugitive, is now over. So that adrenaline dump is behind us. But there is so much work that needs to be done now. A lot of subpoenas and search warrants that are going to be obtained to gather evidence from service providers, telecommunications providers, and different locations where he may have worked and or visited. So there is an extraordinarily difficult and complex investigation that's ahead of us. And we still have to ensure that there aren't co-conspirators here. There aren't people who may have provided him this ammunition or this weapon knowing what he was going to do.
Meanwhile, FBI Director Kash Patel praised the pace of the investigation and said that the gunman was apprehended in historic time.
This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory.
However, the FBI director has been under scrutiny for his messaging during the manhunt for Kirk's killer. Here's CBS News Justice correspondent Scott McFarlane weighing in on the issue.
Well, it's led to criticism of the FBI director, who has been taking heat publicly and, of all places, on social media for the communication strategy used in the initial hours. The FBI director, who you heard from during the news conference, Kash Patel, had posted Wednesday night on social media that a subject was in custody for this shooting. Later, he had to post about 90 minutes later that that person had been released and was not connected to the shooting. But any of this happening on social media before law enforcement was to announce it in a more traditional setting, that's a change. And there's been criticism that if you announce somebody's in custody prematurely or incorrectly, you give a false sense of security to the public, which is a problem. Now, the president going on cable TV this morning to be the first to announce an arrest, that's untraditional as well, to put it mildly. Doesn't mean there's any issue there, but legal analysts immediately responded saying that is fodder for pretrial motions about jury pools, about defense strategy. All of that is a variable. We're not sure how that plays out because this is the first time that's ever happened.
Some Republicans here in the Bay Area, they're paying tribute to Charlie Kirk. Here's a look at the Coachella overpass in Lafayette yesterday. You could see a group of people out there gathering. They hang several American flags in honor of Kirk. It was organized by the MAGA Patriots of Contra Costa.
He was a great patriot, and it's so sad to see what happened to him. I know the nation is definitely in mourning. A lot of people don't feel that way, but I think a good majority of America does.
And of course, we'll continue to monitor the very latest developments with this story. We'll bring you the latest both on air and on our website, kpix.com, plus streaming on the CBS News app.